Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unconventional GMs, the channel where we play short form or one-shot games with pace, vim, and vigor, usually in 2 hours or less. Let's see how we do today. Today, we are playing Stoneburner, a game of amazing space dwarves. Our crew of dwarves of a noble house have inherited, as the only surviving relatives of Broker Longneck of House Grandrock, the cursed mines of the Long Belt, vast numbers of asteroids holding wealth and riches through the Long Belt in space. However, there's two problems. The first is that these are only claims rather than actual worked out mines. So there's likely to be other dwarf houses on the lookout for them. The other issue as well is that most of the galleries of these old mines are haunted by fire-spitting demons from the underworld. So our crew of 3 noble dwarves have set out with a mission to explore these asteroids and try and make them safe, maybe find themselves a home amongst the stars so that they can make their fortune. In the longer form game of Stoneburner, there's a little sort of base building bit where you can add stuff to your base and get little benefits. It's unlikely in 2 hours we'll get to engage with that. Let's just explore the first asteroid and see if we survive and get that point there. I'm Guy from this and also the Burn After Running blog about one-shot RPGs, and I'll be the GM, the game moderator for this game. And I'm going to ask each of my fellow players to introduce themselves and who they are playing, which space dwarf they are taking the role of. Starting with Gaz.
Hi, hello everyone, I'm Gaz off of this, and I'm also one half of What Would the Smart Party Do, the UK's premier RPG podcast. So tonight I am playing Darbram Steelblade, and much like amongst the players, amongst the characters, I am the least bearded, probably. I keep it short and trim. Even my eyebrows, although bushy or short, I am wearing some impressive powered armor covered in frost runes that have a hoarfrost over constantly that crinkle and glitter in the light as I stomp about, and my gun has explosive bullets. I'm stout and heavy set and noted for my absent-minded chiseling while things are happening. Just can't help making those little notes with my little hammer and chisel.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gaz. Ian, who are you and who are you playing?
Hi, I'm Ian McAllister from the Giant Brain and Brainwaves podcast, also from Cult of the Old, a podcast that looks at older games and puts them in a modern context. I am playing Barad Thunderheart, an older dwarf who is a spellwinder. He carries a ornate family staff with him from which he can shoot firebolts. And on his arms, he has bracers which have singularity runes, and he can mess around with the nature of gravity itself. A professor of some description who's gone out into the belt to do some field research and really wants to discover a new demon to put his actual name to finally sort of write his name in the dwarven books.
Fantastic. And finally, John, who are you and who are you playing?
I'm Dorsaway and can normally be found running adventures at various conventions, generally in the north of the country. I'm playing Origrim Stone Delver, and I think I'm probably the youngest of the party. It says so. I'm thick and barrel-chested and tend to sing a lot, although I have been told that I'm not be singing any songs tonight, so you're lucky. He has a we'll see. He has a drone with him that kind of flies around that's capable of projecting holograms and shooting lasers as well. And he tends to project holograms of emojis above his head, which dictates what kind of mood he's in at the moment. He's also a bit of a hipster dwarf. I like to think that he attempts to braid his beard a bit, and he's wearing goggles. He's got kind of vintage clothing that the rest of them probably think I wore them when they were cool, kind of thing as well. And yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. So, set the scene. You've inherited a number of claims across the sector, but we're going to start in Kazab Baram. Kazab Baram Ice Station is the first asteroid that you get to on your journey out. It is the most exploited region, Kazab Baram, of the Long Belt. The rumours here are that the mines are littered with old equipment, ruined machinery, and abandoned tools. There should be loads that you can use to set yourselves up for future endeavours in here. You're looking for loot, for workable mine seams, but also really for a home that you can make your own, somewhere, a base to explore the Long Belt in. A solid, well-resourced asteroid will be ideal to base yourself in if you can clear it out and survive it first. And you've come to Station Zeta Alex. We see it in shot as your mining vessel sort of creeps through the dense belt. And we see the ice and crystalline structures suffuse the surface. This is indeed an ice station. We see this sort of come into view, and then we zoom on board the ship and we see each of our characters as we've seen. And as we sort of zoom in on each of you, we get a view of your vision of glory. So you will each have a vision of glory, which is something that you have foreseen will happen in this adventure. And so I've got to, and you've got to try and somehow make that happen during the time that happens. And we'll see if that works. So starting with Gaz, do you want to go through what's your vision of glory that you've seen?
Yeah, well, Darbaram's actually like hacking this into the side of control panels on the ship and stuff like that. So there's a little mural of it, but he's foreseen that he's going to break the curse on one of these asteroids. There's a sigil carved into the very rock, and he's going to smash it somehow, and that'll break the curse of the asteroid and make it ours.
Fantastic, fantastic. What about Barad? What's he foreseen?
Barad's sitting on the front of the ship, looking through a book. A small rat on his shoulder with a little stumpy tail is his little pet Stumpy, and he's looking through an old dwarven book. Lots of famous sort of dwarf names in there with like pictures of demons they've encountered, and he's looking wistfully at a blank page with his own name at the top. And he wants to fill that, discover a new demon that no one else has encountered, and hopefully not die from it.
Lovely, lovely. And finally, John, what does Orgrim see in his vision of glory?
Being younger and he's slightly thinking about what cool thing is going to happen to him while he's in there. He has this vision of being surrounded by treasure, floating in 0G with treasure falling all around him, just out of his grasp, and he's hoping to find like the mother lode of that he can tell stories about in his older years.
Loads and loads of gold. Fantastic credit.
Loads and loads of gold, yeah. Which I promise not to sing about.
So lifting
saying that, I'm not sure it's true.
It's what, yeah. I mean, these may be dreams that you've had for like years. Every night it comes back to you. One day you'll find the gold. One day you'll find the demon. Fantastic. So we then see, as you sort of move to look on the asteroid, that there are numerous little entry points to it. Some already broken down, some still sealed. The sort of history of this place is that the Long Belt was exploited by dwarves. It's been exploited for and mined for millennia. But where your claims are hopefully barren asteroids that haven't been not barren, but asteroids that haven't been explored for a while, largely due to this demonic incursion which is happening in them. So you, as we see you sort of move to dock and decide which of these entry points to go into, we also see around the other side of the asteroid, and maybe it comes up on your sensors, there's another vessel already docked in here, and you see the runes on the sides naming this as a vessel of the Obsidian Collective, another dwarf clan that are trying to stake their claim here. So we get a sort of warning that they might be about, and they might also be exploring this place.
How do we feel about the Obsidian Collective? Do we
hate them?
We hate them, right? Okay, just checking.
I'm going to turn that question entirely back onto you. So
that's right. We hate them.
No academic rigor in their exploration of asteroids. Terrible. They just exploit and destroy.
They just make stuff up, don't they? The so-called academia have been proven to be fake reports before now, where they just create
absolutely.
And the music they listen to is terrible.
It's not even rock.
No.
So they're noted as basically their lack of citations is why everyone hates them.
That's the memory. And their musical tastes. Yeah.
Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely. Excellent. So as we see ourselves sort of moving towards here, you've got a few little options of how you make ingress into this. You can sort of dock on the asteroid, and then we assume you get into your sort of dwarf spacesuit things and go to all these entrances and sort of hack your way in to get there. Now, the first question, I'm going to go to maybe Gaz because he's first on my list to make this decision, but feel free to ask the rest of your crew about this. You've got some already damaged entrances that have already been, somebody's already made the way in, or there's some fresh ones that seem to be untouched, but obviously getting ingress into there is going to be a little bit harder. What's your thinking? Do you want to go to one that's sort of damaged and stuff's already made its way in, or one that's sort of brand spanking new and looks better?
No, the damaged pre-used entrances are the sort of thing that the Obsidian Collective would do because they're lazy and work shy. Whereas good, honest, hard-working dwarves like ourselves will be not at all afraid of a bit of graft in getting somewhere fresh and new.
Your work ethic is my old heart, but faith in the future of the dwarven kind, my young friend. Let's do that, and there's probably more to discover. Might be more interesting demons down there.
I agree. Wait, what demons?
Interesting ones, preferably not deadly
excited.
ones, but just interesting.
Exciting. My emoji gets excited. I'm excited about this. These guys I'm hoping to learn things from these guys. I'm like, right, I make a note of that. Always go through don't go through the used entrances.
Fantastic. So you need to try and get ingress into this. We'll have our first dice roll to try and get in. Now, the way that this roll will work is you will definitely get in, but the question is whether there's a major or a minor complication as you do this. It's a really straightforward system. I'm going to assume that Darbram, you're the sort of leader in this action. I want you to describe how you are approaching it, what sort of basically put a bit of flavor to it, but you can either approach it with strength, dexterity, or willpower, or you could use one of your items to get your way in, and you roll that dice. If anyone wants to help you, they can volunteer to describe how they're helping, and they roll a dice as well. We get the best one. To go in one of the fresh entrances, it's going to be a fair roll, so it's just an unmodified dice. And what you're looking for is 3 or 4 for success with a complication, 5 or higher for a full success. And the higher it is, the better. So, Gaz, what's Darbram going to do to try and get in, do you think?
Darbram's going to pull out his special key that he has for this, which is a large 2-handed mattock that has got runes carved all over it. And he's going to boost himself from the ship. So he flies like an arrow and then smashes at the last minute to knock at the weak point of the door and open it up using his strength.
I was going to say, that sounds like strength. Is anyone supporting this action? It sounds not. You have to take the consequences if you support and they give it a better chance. So fair play. So Darbram, do you want to roll your strength dice?
I get a 1.
A fantastic start. So what happens as well is your strength dice steps down to a d6. For this action, because you've got to get in the asteroid, you're going to succeed with a major complication. Okay. So you launch yourself at it with the mattock, and you manage to get a massive dent in the place, but you have to keep sort of hammering away. All you manage as you sort of wrench this seal off is a narrow portion to sort of go through. And as you go in, I'm going to give you a major complication. I'm just looking at your character sheet now. Yeah, not just your strength is going to be stepped down. Your as you push through, your power armor with its frostbite runes, they get scratched as well and damaged. And so until you're able to repair them, your frostbite rune is going to be disabled as well.
All right. Okay.
As you pull yourself through with that. But you're in, and the other 2 of you can follow behind, and you find yourselves in a sort of empty sort of airlock zone. You use the fresh area, so there's no sign of anyone here. All that you can hear is a slight creaking as if it's sort of ice, maybe ice melting, maybe ice shifting inside. And you can tell now that you're inside that there's a mixture here of solid rock and ice and sort of slush, maybe deeper in the asteroid. There's some sources of heat that you can see as well. There's two major ways forward you can see from this sort of staging room. To the left, there's a sort of mess of like partially worked mines. So like narrow tunnels, not fully complete, not fully safe, you would imagine. But to the right, you can see there's a passageway that goes into, there's bits of like plasteel that have been mounted. It looks as if it leads towards a more sort of living area, former living area of the asteroid. So you've got a potentially more dangerous route, but with potentially more stuff in it and less likely to be explored, or potentially a safer route. As Baram's catching his breath and sort of trying to piece together his armor and fix it, we'll go into how you can fix it in a bit. Maybe, Ian, what's Barad thinking to take the lead here? What's your thoughts on this?
Barad sticks his staff in the ground and sort of glows slightly at the top, casting a little bit of light down the corridors, and he's immediately drawn down the more dangerous path. He sort of senses sort of demons or monsters down there and wants to go down the more dangerous route. But his young friend has got his armor damaged, maybe a small respite, maybe better, and he sort of he decides to head towards the sort of slightly safer route, the former living areas, lighting the way as he marches ahead.
Lovely. So there's slightly safer areas. So you take the lead in there. Let's just go to Orgrim. What are you up to in this sort of battle? What's your character up to?
Orgrim kind of would wipe his brow. He was kind of slightly worried that we were going down the more dangerous path, but he's when the safe path is chosen, he kind of he goes up his brow, ends up just kind of like clunking on his helmet, and he's kind of like brushes a bit of frost off, and he could send his Ziggy, his little drone robot, kind of slightly ahead as well. I guess it can kind of fly ahead and kind of and I'm guessing it's got a limited range kind of thing. You can't scout the whole thing, but you can kind of send it just slightly ahead just to kind of see. It's kind of like scans can like do kind of like a fantastic laser kind of like it's got scanning down the tunnel.
It's got exactly as expect, a limited range of narrative effect. If you see what I mean.
Yes, absolutely.
How far it is sometimes it just won't be far enough. To that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can send it forward. The first bits it describes is that you go into some sort of living areas. Now these are sort of former. It sort of scouts out, and you're able to make your way forward because there's no sign of any sort of danger here. There's sort of store cupboards. There's some sort of sleeping areas from whatever miners, whatever dwarves were in here before. There is, and you can see that most of the stuff in here, most of the sort of chests and paraphernalia that's in here is pretty much like untouched. These chests are locked and so on. There might be some good stuff here. Actually, there might be some clues, but also some useful like items and tools that you could find.
Hey, I'd say, Barad, we might be able to find something here to.
Careful, my young friend. It is not uncommon for dwarves to set traps in their homes. Like, do the young people not do that these days with your emojis or whatever you call them? It's not uncommon for dwarven families in the past to have set traps and little pieces of occasional bombs and such. So we must be careful when opening these things. But yes, hopefully we can get something to help our friend Darbram sort himself out. How is your armor looking, Darbram?
He's constantly like smashing arms on the side of walls and stuff and trying to get the lights to turn back on again, and quite frustrated that it's not just working by hitting it, which is his normal approach, I think.
Lovely. So you've got a couple of options here. If you want to find stuff, there's a loot mechanic. So you can roll your loot dice, which starts at D12. Basically, 1 to 2 is there's trouble here, 3 to 4 is trouble ahead, and then higher rolls get you items that you can then use to work with and get sorted with it from there. So, I mean, it sounds like Orgrim, you were maybe about to ignore some of the advice from Barad and have a proper search of what's going on. You can send
I'm saying
obviously.
People don't do that anymore. My granddad Ivo did that kind of thing, and there was the boot incident, but that was years ago. I vaguely remember it. I mean, it's such a long time ago. I'm going to go and trying to pull up the clasps on these chests to see if I can get things open, if that's possible.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, do you want to roll your loot dice? It starts at D12. It steps down like all the other dice as you roll it.
So I should roll a D12?
Yeah, just roll a D12 on there. Yeah.
I get an 8.
Fantastic. So an 8, if I look that up, is you get a D8 depletable item. So thinking about what might be useful here, if you have any idea what kind of useful thing you might have been looking for, based on where you are, you can define it as a D8. Depletable just means that it steps down each roll, and when it steps down below D4, it's gone. It doesn't last like your runes will do. So if any of the other players have got other suggestions as to what you could have found, or John, what do you think you might have got from there?
Nice armor polishing kit.
I was going to find some kit for my robot, maybe that's depletable, but some non-lethal stuff, maybe. I don't know. Maybe something a bit more boring, like a fire suppression kit. So it might be used to spray, to distract monsters, distract people, that kind of thing. So it might hurt them. I don't know, depending on what they are. But
as long as
look at this, guys. That's cool. It's not going to burn here, is it? I guess they've got all this frost around, but
these young people with their toys.
I mean, it might burn when the fire demons come. I'm just saying.
And obviously, you can use that in as inventive a way as you want. It doesn't have to just be fighting fires. There might be other stuff. So you've got a fire suppression kit. Fantastic. As this is happening, Darbram and Barad, you notice that this sort of living area leads a little bit further. There's sort of control room above, but you can see that as you look here, that there's more sort of signs of habitation. You're sure that one of the boot prints you can see here looks a lot fresher than something that's thousands of years old. And like all the doors here have been just open and you've been able to walk in. But that one right at the end that you think might lead to the control room looks as if it might be like shut or even like actually locked.
Okay.
Well, fortunately, I've still got my mattock with me in case I need to open any doors. So, and it went so well last time.
Well, I can help you out, my young friend. I can be ready with some fire if needed to. And I think Stumpy here senses there's something on this. There's a like sort of rat on my shoulder that peeks his head out. Are we still wearing our spacesuits?
I think once you're in the asteroid, it's got life support. Is probably what we'll say.
Cool. So we've got like our helmets off stuff.
Yeah,
so like,
otherwise, your rat is going to be a bit weird of a like.
Yeah.
To have.
Stumpy's on like the sort of shoulder bit of where the helmet connects, like sort of sitting there,
running around,
like whispering in my ear.
I was hoping the rat had its own small spacesuit, can like scale down.
I thought about that, but I thought that might be a bit too Disney.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So you've got this locked door in front of you. You've got you've searched through and found some like fire suppression kits. I mean, you guys can loot as well if you want, but obviously it carries a risk. And you can you can use your dice up, or you can go and look at the sort of locked door that's a little bit further, or go back obviously and explore the dangerous bit of the mine as well.
Yeah, I want to try and find something to fix my armor. So I'm going to look around and see what might be available.
Yeah. Barrett's going to have a wee dig around as well.
And I get a 1 as is traditional in this game, apparently. For me.
I get a 10.
Let's do Barrett first, and then we'll do, because 1 is very clearly trouble is here. So, Barrett, you're going to find a D10 depletable item. So, what do you think that could be based on what we've in a fiction?
Barrett find if this isn't too really metagaming, Barrett finds like sort of like maybe some sort of like map or sort of like area of the area detailing like where the sort of dangerous demons are, like the sort of safe and dangerous areas are a little bit. If that's not too much.
No, absolutely not. No, you get
cool.
You get, I think, a sort of broad indication of the layout of the mine.
Yeah.
You can also use this for dice, obviously, because it's D10 depletable. So if you want to use that as your action, you can use that and deplete that instead of your.
So I just stick it in my items list as like demon map or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And you could use that like to react to demons and stuff. Use them as loosely as you want, really, is what I'd advise from that.
Baram, there's some really good demons down that way. I think we should go that way.
There are no good demons. How often do we have to go through this? They're all bad.
Bad, yes, but interesting. Interesting. That's the key.
And as that happens, Diagram, the chest that you've opened is it doesn't, there's nothing. It's all sort of dusty. Doesn't appear to be anything in it. But when you look a bit closer, there's a little sort of pressure sensor. Everything's dusty apart from this pressure sensor that seems to be planted quite recently, and you just see it flashing red at you. And at that we hear a sort of clunk, 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 and the door, as you spin around, that was previously closed, sorry, sort of begins to open a crack, and you can see rifles, dwarf-made rifles, poked out over it, and you hear a shout from within saying, all right, looters, time's up. Time to go back to your vessel, nice and slow. We was here first. This is ours, by order of the Obsidian Collective.
Boo.
Never mind, boo.
Okay.
Put your stuff down. Leave that stuff you've stolen from us, whatever that fire extinguisher is, and start backing out.
We have a legitimate claim here, unlike your poorly researched and unsighted one that you'll no doubt wave about in a minute.
A bit of paper. Well, we see this. It's been triple signed in triplicate. This. It's so.
Yeah. Barrow's holding his staff in his right hand, and he puts his left hand over his bracers, so his bracers touch together. So he activates his singularity rune and sort of basically aims it at these guys to make them float.
Okay.
So I can muck around with gravity.
Okay, so I was thinking of moving to a sort of role where you try and assess the situation and see how many guys there are, how dangerous it is. But no, I'm fine if you want. Irrelevant how many there are. Go for the singularity rune. It was going that way anyway, wasn't it? Do you want to roll your singularity rune, and then we'll interpret how it works, if there are complications or anything?
Yeah, cool. 7.
Oh, fantastic. So you greatly succeed, and the higher result it is, the better.
I need to drop.
So do you want to? I'll give you a bit.
I drop the die every time.
Yeah. Every time you roll. So behind this sort of door, there are 4 of these Obsidian Collective soldiers that you can see. You've greatly succeeded. So I think I'll hand the narrative over to you. It won't completely sort of destroy all 4 of them, but it's going to be a significant sort of advantage to you as you do it. Do you want to, Ian, maybe describe how you see it planning out here? And then I'll take over and see.
I was thinking basically I reverse the direction of gravity in the localized area. So effectively, they're threatening us, or maybe exchanging jibes back and forth. And then their guns start to float up and they're holding on to them, and they sort of start to slightly rotate in the air, and then basically are sort of stuck to the roof above them as all their stuff sort of floats up the way.
Yeah, so they're floating up, and what they do is they float. This door is sort of partially raised, this sort of blast door, and you see them scrabbling to hold on to it and scrabble to do it. One of them just manages to reach out, and as they float up, the door sort of begins to slide down again. It says, you haven't heard the last of this. You haven't heard the last of this. Leave your magic alone. And then as it sort of suddenly gets muted by the door clunking closed from there, and there's some scrabbling behind it. You can just about make out some sort of dim, dull arguments going on behind this door as the Obsidian Collective argue about what's happening.
Stumpy gives them a little rat salute as they disappear behind the door.
Nice. So you've got Obsidian Collective so far back in their box, if you like. You can take stock of this sort of living area as well. There's also some passages in here that are going to seem to lead down towards the sort of central mines of the asteroid. So you could go and sort of look through there. There's some passages that you can see. There's little sort of where you would hang your mining uniforms and your power tools and stuff, and then it leads off there. So there's a few little options for what to do. So basically, you can go back, you can try and get through this like closed up door and face the Obsidian Collective again and try another word with him, or go deeper into the sort of active mine, well, not active, but worked out mines that are properly sort of constructed. What's your thinking? Go to Darbram because your judgment's been really strong so far. If your dice roll hasn't.
Well, actually, he was going to consult Barad as he's got some maps and he's the sage old scholar. So we'll have an old-fashioned moot at this point because there's been quite a lot of where I explain it to young Origrim as well. This is where we all get to say, like, normally I'd lead, but these dire times, this is where we all sit around and break bread and light a little fire in the middle, and then we all get to say something. And I think I'm cursed. That vision I saw, my vision of glory later, it's the curse that's bringing me down. Everything I try and do is clearly causing problems. So it's up to you two to decide what we should do. Perhaps if Barad, you can give us your sage wisdom, and then we're like the new person. We let Origrim. You're going to decide because this is how you learn. This is how you become a great dwarf. He's about making tough decisions.
Jeepers, he says.
I agree, Darbram. An excellent idea. Let our youngest member choose the ultimate direction. I believe personally that do not worry about your curse, my young friend Darbram. But we will conquer that. We will find the source of it and certainly purge it from this asteroid. But yes, I believe we should go deeper. And Darbram's like Bar's poring over the maps in a sort of slightly kind of like sort of deeper and more interesting things kind of way.
Fantastic.
I know I think we should go here. He points to the area on the map, which is basically like, don't go there. It's bad and wrong.
Okay, I think we can make a check for you pouring over these maps, I think, because that's good. And just to set the stakes, I think if you fail, you're definitely going to lead people into danger, which is possibly where Darbram wants to go. Sorry, where Barad wants to go anyway.
I have bookworm, so when trying to discover a secret about a placed object or demon, I may roll with a good position. Does this count?
Yeah. So a good position means you roll with one die higher. So I think.
All right, so I roll with a D. So, but it still counts a D10 when I step it down.
When you step it down, it gets stepped down.
Yeah, cool. So I am rolling with a D12 in that case. Do that. 7.
Fantastic. You greatly succeed. So I think how we'll do that is I'll give you just a general overview of what's going on here. Now, this is a map of the mines as they were when they were working. So you're having to use your knowledge and research of demons to work out where might have demons in it and where might not. You can see that there's the passage that leads off here leads to the rich vein workings, which is sort of deeper in the asteroid, which is where most of the mining was done. You can just about make out where you came from, the sort of dangerous route that you sort of rejected, where you'd have to sort of climb up with pitons and stuff. That's a young man's game. Well, that's the densest bit of the asteroid, though. That's where the most sort of precious metals and gems are going to be found, the most useful stuff. They've just found it quite hard to work through there. Unusually, as you look at the map, when you go past the sort of vein workings and past these passages, there's another chamber deeper, like right in the center of the asteroid, that is sort of unmarked. So it's not a mine. It's almost like they discovered this when they were exploring and haven't gone any further. It's sort of nobody goes past this thing, and there's not mine workings near it either, which you surmise might mean that's quite dangerous, even when they were like exploring the mine.
This looks like a good area, young Organ. It doesn't seem that it has been investigated much, and I'm sure it'll be perfectly safe. They just haven't gotten that far, lying through his teeth.
I believe you, Barad. Orgrim's kind of like buoyed by the fact that he now thinks that the Obsidian Dwarf, Obsidian Cartel, was they? The Obsidian Collective? Collective, that was it. That we defeated them. That's it. He's young. He's naive. He thinks that was it. That was, we're fine now. And he believes these older fellows, and he has confidence in them. I think you're right. I think that if we get through this bit and get to that chamber, I think I'm going to be floating in gold.
We should be all be at our best though, and we should help our friend Dabram
Yes.
sort out his armor before we head into this perfectly safe asteroid.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you've got a bit of time here if you want. I mean, you can go a little bit. You have got the Obsidian Collective down on another blast door behind you, plotting. So I'm not convinced how safe that is. But you've got a few materials here. So if you wanted to repair your rune, there is also a system for that. You can do some sort of project to try and recover it. I think probably, just as I read the rules live now, probably repairing it is something that we just do as a check. So describe how you do it and do it. For a project, you end up with an item of the dice that you roll. If you see what I mean, you have to do it on long term, whereas I don't think it's really that. So as you sort of scavenge up some goods for it, if you want to maybe try and repair it, you can make a roll for that if you describe how you do it, Gaz.
Yeah, it's to try and like recraft the runes on the fly, which means taking out bigger parts, perhaps, to make the runes bigger or something like that. So there's less armor, but the magic's still there. So I've got to infuse it with my will as I just try and bend the raw metal to my psychic power.
Barrett will help out. He understands how to carve runes. He's studied them and can help guide the process.
Oregon asks whether his singing his mending song would help, and then quickly goes quiet when he sees the looks from these fellow dwarves. No, okay.
Stumpy turns towards you, like he gives you the rat eye.
There's a cutscene to the ship with a broken generator.
Oregon singing away.
There was a jukebox in the corner, and it's a smashed up thing.
Lovely. So yeah, do you want to? So both of you can roll your dice. We take the highest one. So it won't be
willpower, yeah,
because it's not just Gaz rolling. So yeah, if you roll your willpower, they both get stepped down after this. I remember. So.
I got 5.
I got an 8.
I mean, they're both successes, so it's a great success. So, guys, do you want to describe how you managed to patch back your runes from this?
I carve out the funnels. There's little whirls of metal as I pulled them out, but they're still quite static until our ancient sage can pour in some of his magic, and you see the liquid blue fire of the that turns to ice as he blesses the new runes, and they activate again. So I'm a shining paragon of dwarfdom once more.
Fantastic. And you can make your way deeper into the mine. Now you've got that. Well, I don't know. Do you want to go deeper into where that was? I think where Orgrim and Barrett.
That is where our young friend decided to go.
I'm excited. Let's do it, guys. Let's do this.
Excellent. So
this has never gone wrong before.
Apart from all the times it has just recently.
Okay.
Do you remember when Delver used to be with us back in the good old days? Before we dug deep too far.
Okay. You enter a maze of sort of worked out mine workings. Navigating this is going to be a precarious challenge for you guys, which means you need to take multiple checks describing what you're doing each time. And you need to, for a perilous challenge, get 3 successes, basically, as you go through. And that then you'll get through to the sort of the central mines that you need to work through it. So to set the scene, these once were quite safe, straightforward tunnels that were following the veins into the asteroid. And you get the feeling that was often a lot of sort of ice walls here, and the whole thing was sort of shrouded in ice. That has changed a little bit, though, because it's clear as you set off this, there's some source of heat in here that is gradually melting this place. And it looks as if maybe this is going to keep going. So as you sort of go into these passages, even the stuff that's on your map, Barad, doesn't entirely match what you're looking at. And so you're having to sometimes cut back. There's a few routes that are collapsed that you have to sort of turn back and go through. There's bits where you walk forward, and what once was a stable ice sheet is now a sort of treacherous slide that you have to like clamber down. And you have to sort of make your way gradually through this we're going to say maybe that Origrim and your drone are leading the way. So do you want to make the first check, describe how you navigate this dangerous area, and then give that check a go?
Yeah, so we Origrim's leading them, and there is a particular cavern that's quite treacherous where the floor's fallen away, and there are stalactites and stalagmites that have kind of come together, made out of ice, and we're kind of like having to climb between them. So it's kind of like from column to column effectively with them. You can't see the ground below, and I send my drone down, and it's dramatically it can't see how deep into the asteroid this chasm goes. So I'm leading the way as it. Yeah, that's cool. So what am I going to be rolling here? Would that be?
Does your drone have a dice size? I don't think it does it?
Let's have a look. No, it's got its runes has got for its lasers and holograms have got dice, but otherwise no.
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds probably dexterity. You were leaping from.
I was thinking, yeah,
seems right. So make a
dexterity.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take note that I do have a confidence ability here, which I might need, which basically says that if I roll and fail, I can roll again immediately if need be without stepping down. So I might need that. Who knows?
Well, let's see how confident you are.
Let's see.
You don't sound confident by noting that ability now.
Well, there you go. I rolled a 1.
Yeah.
So dramatically, yes. I'm going. It says so. I don't know is that a one-use thing or is that something I can use more than once? I'm not sure. It says cost 0, but I'm not sure if that's. But I'll roll now and then. I don't know.
So yeah, you must still take the original complication that's been cut off in there. So there will still be something bad that happens, but you might get a success as well.
I get a 4, so I think it's better, but not great. So I've still kind of.
Yeah, so it's a success at least, but you still get a major complication from the failure. You will still get a complication. And your dice steps down again. So I think as you're sort of leaping from stalagmite to tight, and so I'm leading everyone through this way. You. Yeah, I'm going to introduce something new here, actually. I think it leads you into there's sort of a few different directions you could go. There's a few different chambers. And as you're sort of not wanting to lose momentum, as everyone jumps behind you, you just go with your gut to the first one that you think is going to be best. As you go there, there's a sort of, you all sort of get on solid ground and sneak forward, and you hear a sort of, it's like your boots boom and echo on the floor of this sort of chamber that you've landed in. And as you do that, you see a little glow. And Darbram, you see this first of all, because there's a sigil lighting up on the wall. It's behind what would have been a thick sheet, like 6 inches thick of a sheet of ice, but it's been melted through, and you know that this is the thing. And as it lights up, you can just hear the sort of rumble of the ice above you start to fall, as well, as if this is the sort of cursed sigil of this asteroid.
Well, there's only one thing for it then, which is to pull out my holy weapon and shoot the sigil with my coal wash runes to explode the sigil to pieces with my blessed bullets.
Fantastic.
Even as the roof's falling in, I'm just going to aim carefully and to take my shot.
I can't think what a complication could be from this if you're not successful.
No, it's beyond perfectly
what could happen. Yeah.
So I'll roll coal wash rune for that.
Yeah. Roll your rune dice.
And as is expected, I roll a 1 again, because why wouldn't I?
Okay, I think
the dice are rolling well tonight.
Because it's always more fun to fail forward. I think it's going to be a success with a major complication. So I think you maybe succeeded too well here. Your coal wash rune is explosive shells shotgun. They're built for like punching through walls of asteroids, which is indeed what it does. But sigils like this are protected with all kinds of magical seals. You, in your panic to do it, you shoot it full on. The whole chamber, the three of you all notice, is beginning to shake at this sort of bang. The whole thing sort of collapses, ceiling, walls, floor, and you are just down this chute of sort of rock and ice, rolling, 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 until you sort of come to a stop in sort of piles of rubble, sort of several feet below, a little bit bruised. Luckily, you're wearing your mining armor, so you're not too badly hurt, but you're able to sort of scramble to your feet. Just before you get a chance to do it, though, you hear skittering and feel the heat of flame above you. And as you look up, you can see there's 4 sort of dwarf-sized, burning, red-skinned demons skittering towards you, looking as if they've just had a treat delivered. And in fact, they're going to go first. So we're going to enter our first combat of the session, and they're going to go first. How combat works is the initiative thing is you decide who goes next after your go, basically. Say like popcorn initiative. They're going to mostly go at the same time, though, all 4 of them. And you can do one of these actions on your turn. You can attack, which means you do hits to people, which knocks down their resilience. You can change the battlefield, which means usually you'll make a check, but that might give you good position to attack, or might do some like tactical shift from it. You can use an ability. Some of you have abilities. I'm not sure if any of you have ones that are specifically for battle, or you can move where it says a great distance. Okay, so if you spend a turn moving, you can move a narratively great distance, probably as far as your drone's range. That is a great distance. And you knock them off resilience. You need to come off your enemy's resilience as well, to see what sort of happens from there. To set the scene, you're not quite sure what's in this chamber yet, apart from a big pile of rubble and ice that you're scrambling up from and partially underneath. But as these demons come for you, they've got sort of burning spears, and you can see that at the end of them, they actually can feel the heat coming off them as they rush towards you and try and stab you with them. The good news is they attack with D4s. So 2 of them, Dargrim, because you've Darbaram, sorry, because you're the first to land, are going to try and stab you first of all. So one of them gets a 3 and one of them gets a 1. So that's the one that gets a 3 does 2 hits. The one that gets a 1 does 1 hit. So you're going to take 3 points off your resilience.
Okay.
Haven't checked.
No resilience.
I haven't checked what your resilience is. I hope it's more than 3.
Yeah, it was twice that, but now it's
That's a little
3.
bit lower.
Yeah.
Okay. Barra, do you notice one come up with a spear to try and stab you as well?
Okay.
That does 2 hits to you. Take 2 off your resilience.
Oh, I'm down to 1.
And Oricrim, as you look at it, one stabs at you as well and does 2 hits again.
Oh,
the good news is it's your go now. So I'm going to nominate, I think, Darban to react.
Well, they're going to rue the day that they came running it with their spears, because I'm going to grapple them all. And this is where my frostbite runes on my army house the flames of the demons and cause them anguish. Or not, we shall see. I roll and get a 5.
Excellent. So you're going to do 3 hits. That's enough to take one of them out completely. Do you want to describe how this like tiny, skinny fire demon gets vanquished by your newly repaired frostbite rune?
Yeah, there's a hideous squealing. I just get it in my base, and tighter and tighter I go. Water runs off my armor, but there's a hiss of it being extinguished. So there's this like skinny runt of a demon left once the flames and smoke have died down. You can see how skinny they are. And then there's just the last as I pop and crush it when all the fires are out. 1 down, 3 to go. Who do you want to go next, Darab? I think the young buck would be keenest to get into the action.
Go for it.
Okay. In that case, Origrim will deploy his drone and attempt to use this cold fire suppression thing that he attached to it earlier back in the the living chambers before we fell down here. So I'm going to attempt to spray kind of like fire extinguisher on the flamey creature. Is that a D8?
It's the dice that you roll from the object. Yeah.
So there's kind of a hiss, but my drone kind of like flies around it, and it's kind of like a white mist kind of.
I'm
like
actually going to So roll your D8 and see what you get from
that. A 2. Not over there, over here.
Yeah. It's, you notice as you take stock, there's a little fire in the corner of the room as well, and it captures one of the demons who like shrinks away and then goes straight to this fire and starts extinguishing it because it's much bigger than the demons that are on there. From there, that's it, brilliant. And Grim, I'll give you the option of choosing who goes next. You only got one choice though, so it's probably going to be Barrett's turn now, isn't it?
It will be, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Barrett's sort of fascinated by these creatures. He doesn't recall seeing them before in his book, so he wants to like sort of at least capture one of them. So he like sort of brings his braces together and targets one of them and sort of slowly sort of pushes it down onto like a jut of ice, sort of piercing it on a piece of ice like a specimen. That's his intention anyway. Let's see if that actually works out.
Well, yeah.
I'm rolling a d6 for that. 4.
Nice. So that will be enough. Going to generously assume that's the one that was injured by the fire extinguisher as well. That'll be enough to destroy it. Do you want to just? You've sort of described there's a jut of ice.
Yeah, it's just sort of like pierced slowly down and it sort of like screams slowly as it dies, and this is like sort of forced down onto this piece of ice.
Lovely, and there's a hiss with it. It's going to be the start of the next round. I'm going to rule that maybe you can go first because it looks like the two remaining are trying to sort of scrabble back, and that discretion might be the better part of valor, and they're going to try and make a quick getaway here. Again, Barad, you've got a fresh choice of everyone. Who do you want to go first?
I'm going to give the young buck another shot. Prove his worth.
Okay. In that case, Oregon will whistle for his drone to come and maybe use the tried and tested laser instead of this trying to use a fire extinguisher that he found. He should just stick with what he knows, do that. Yeah. So that's so he has a laser. It's a D6. He'll go with that.
Barrett's mumbling under his breath about newfangled technology.
A 5. There is a piercing blue beam of light, like a solid blue beam of light, kind of strikes out from one of the lenses on the drone, and strikes the thing.
Excellent. Takes it out. One of them just like
cuts straight through it and hits the ice behind it.
Yeah. Chunk of ice clunk
on top of it,
creaking the whole. But yeah, there's just one of them left. Orgrim, who do you want to go next?
Darbram, why don't you get that mattock and.
Yeah, this is for opening doors, not facing demons with.
Oh, okay.
But I'll try, since you've asked, because we've not tried this before. So I'll run up and see if I can open the demon like a door. Who knows? Maybe it'll work.
Let's see.
Didn't a 4.
So that'll do 2 hits. So yeah, it's you like slam it against the wall with that. It's still sort of scrabbling and trying to get away deeper into the workings. You could nominate Barad to have a go at it if you wanted.
But Barad, there's one for you to study here. I'll point to the limping demon.
It's sort of trying to scrabble away.
Excellent. Maybe I can draw its energy from it, and he like sort of smashes the staff into the ground, and it sort of glows this blue fire that reaches out towards the demon, sort of sucking its energy out from it. So I'll roll my firelight rune. 6.
That will definitely take it out. Do you want to just describe what this looks like?
I sort of like the blue flame sort of reaches out towards it and forms kind of like little hands and picks this thing up and sort of squeezes the sort of red fire out of it, leaving this sort of husk left afterwards, and it drops to the ground.
Fantastic.
And then Barrett's over to it, like sort of picking it apart. Ooh, interesting. Drawing some diagrams in his book.
And you notice that these demons, these moaning ember demons, which sadly for Barad, you do recall them being near in that book that you looked at. They're not the new.
Throws her aside, disgusted.
Yeah. are defeated, and you can take stock of where you are. You're still in the mine workings, but this is like a lower worked out chamber. You still need 2 more successes to try and navigate the sort of central mine to get up there from there. But you have faced your first demons, and you faced your first like rival dwarves as well, but managed to trick them rather than defeat them. That's probably a good point as you take stock and we're about to explore, for us to take a short break. So we'll take 5 minutes. It'll be 5 seconds for you in listener land, and we'll see you very shortly. Welcome back. When we left our intrepid dwarves, they were exploring the asteroid of Ice Station. Zeta Alex had to just check which one it is, check we weren't on like Beta Alex or Theta Alex there in my copious notes. We might not get onto those other letters here. They just defeated a pack of moaning ember demons after a fairly disastrous first attempt to explore the mines, where they destroyed the cursed room, but then fallen down and done it. You will know this because it was only a few seconds away for you, but I'm reminding my players of this now because it was a few minutes ago from that. And you have a chance now in the sort of relative safety of this old sort of mine working, now that the fire has been extinguished and the demons have been vanquished, to catch your breath and rest a little. What this does is it resets all your skills. A rest would normally be 8 hours, but we'll fold it into maybe a quick hour of patching up wounds and so on. And from that, that'll also recover your resilience back to its full. And as we do that, I'm just going to, maybe each of our dwarves can just share a story from back home of maybe someone that they've left behind or something that they did before they set off on this voyage to claim their birthright. And we'll do it in the sort of order we've been doing everything from here. So maybe Gaz, do you want to hear, what does Darbram share as you sit around maybe the rekindled fire that you've done that and take some dwarf bread?
Yeah, it takes us a few goes because every time we kindle the fire, Ogrim's drone comes over and puts it out. We have to reprogram him.
It'll extinguish anything but demons. Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
Let's put some runes around it that can like read-identify like a QR code, not this fire.
yeah.
And well, you see him like cracking open demon skulls to get the brain balls, because as we go into the fade out of back home, which is a slightly desaturated shot, you see that he's got demon brains that start off the size of grapefruits, but he goes through this alchemical process to get them small enough to be explosive bullets that are eventually carved with his special beams. So he's actually killing demons with demon brains. But yeah, for the people sat around, it's like, what's he doing to those bodies? Why is he smashing their heads up? And it's only the viewers at home that see that it's all part of how he gets his ammunition to kill more demons.
Do they look massively different to dwarf or human brains, demon brains, or muchly the same?
They're inversed, so it's hard to tell. But like where we have ridges, they have the peaks, and where our peaks are, they have ridges.
Nice.
So an untrained eye, it looks very similar, but you have to be an expert to know that they're actually inverted.
Brilliant. Okay, so we see that's our story. So Darbo, so get your skills back and your resilience back. Barrett, what do we see of you at home?
So Barrett, we see a sort of montage of a very busy academic, constantly ignoring his partner, like arguments and that kind of thing, and eventually his partner passes, and we see Barrett sort of standing over a grave and promising that he'll make sort of more of his life and become well known and sort of famous. Keep taking completely wrong lesson from what has happened to him, and sort of like going out amongst the stars to make a name for himself, because that's what his partner would have definitely wanted.
Sure,
absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love it.
It's not running away from home and his feelings at all.
Yeah, completely. I love it. So get your skills back, get your resilience back. And Orgrim, what do we see of you leaving home?
Orgrim thinks back to his uncle constantly telling him how it was in his day, and how things were always better. And so one of the things Orgrim wants to do, is to go out and prove himself, and that's why he left home. So and he thinks back to how his singing came from his family. There's lots of montage of them all singing together, luckily muted, so there's just music over the top of it, so you don't actually have to hear their voices or anything like that. But it's mainly he's mainly thinking about how he's kind of, he's the generation, and he's got this generational kind of like legacy on him where he's got to prove himself. So
fantastic. And as you get your skills back, get your resilience back, and as you sort of recover from this and make to set off again, well, every time you catch your breath, you trigger a minor complication. And what happens here is we hear a little creak. There's a cut scene of the outside of the asteroid, and we see a whole like ice sheet sort of slew off and fall into the vastness of space. The asteroid melting has been accelerated by some of the actions that you're doing, and will continue to be if you keep running complications. So I've set up, you'll have to imagine it because I've got a piece of paper here. I've set up a little 6 clock timer for a melting asteroid, and filled in one of those little wedges for it. You've got 5 left. So as you sort of act and move around, some of the complications are going to end up melting this asteroid to the point where you'll have to make a quick getaway, and it probably isn't going to be a good source of a base for you. Okay, so Origrim, I believe, navigated last time. As we set off, who's taking the lead to try and get to the central mines now? Is it Barad? Is it Darbram? Or is it Origrim again, because he did so well last time?
I think Origrim suggests that he should, and the others who go, no! That's straight away.
Barad gets out his map, sort of puts his staff into the ground, the place sort of lights up. He sends a sort of little sort of shoot of a fireball up into the sky to sort of light up the cave, and he sort of looks
tick it into the
looks at his map under the sort of like glowing ball is like in the middle of the room, and like points out a direction and sort of sets off sort of his staff sort of ticking on the stone as he goes.
Lovely. Do you want to, you could roll your staff. I should have said your staff, not your staff. So your map doesn't refresh because it's a depletable item. So it just slows down. So but your runes do, your items, but your staff doesn't. So yeah, you could, your map, sorry. So you could use your map if you wanted to.
Yeah. So
or your willpower.
I'll go for my map. It's a D8 at the moment. I'm assuming the sort of like the lighting up the room is sort of flavor rather than using the actual thing. A 2.
Okay. Okay. So that's a failure or a success with a major complication. As that goes on, I'm going to actually let you have a success with a complication here, and
of course,
it's going to sort of be 2 minor complications. So the first thing that we see as you sort of tramp away, I think the fireball that you lit it up with is already sort of is left behind as you set off, and as it slowly sort of floats to the ground and catches some of the kindling that you had in the burn, we see hear the sort of dripping of some more of the ice sheets begin to sort of drop away, and I'll just fill in another wedge of that melting as you do. And you make your way through the tunnels, trying to sort of climb your way back up to where the central things are. And I'm actually the first time I've done this, possibly in my GMing career, I'm going to roll a random encounter on a table that I wrote of random encounters. Fantastic. Yeah, so as you're making your way, you hear some sort of scratching and skittering from above, like the road above you, Barrett. And as you sort of pull back and see, you see there's a pair of demons. One of them is sort of taller than a dwarf, like 6-7 feet tall, stick thin, carries one of those flaming spears again, and is poking one of the little moaning embers that you fought before with it, and sort of gesturing that they haven't seen you, this pair. And one of them's like, you can see the taller one reaching down, and he's got a bit of dwarven armor with some runes carved on it, and he's trying to get the little moaning ember to sniff it, and he's trying to find where it might be. The armor's very dark black, like it's made to look as if it's been carved from obsidian. They haven't seen you, but they are like they're blocking the way in front of you completely. And yeah.
Well, Barrett reaches into his backpack, pulls out his book. Fascinating demon behavior, and starts sort of writing it down and drawing a little diagram. Absolutely fascinating. Yes, I see. There's a sort of a diversity about biodiversity here. And isn't this fascinating, Darbo? Look. They're using a piece of armor to like track down the rest of the door. So fascinating psychological behavior between the demons.
How well do you think they concentrate when exploding bullets go off amidst them? They're demons, man. What are you thinking?
We must study them and find out how they work in order to most efficiently murder them.
Then we get a Guy Ritchie shot of my shotgun with the writing down the sides of. There's some explosive bullets in their direction.
Yeah. Fantastic. Let's roll that.
Edges of my book getting singed by the fire.
Yeah. Light quill on it. Yeah. Brilliant. Make a roll.
It's only a D6, unfortunately, but let's see what happens. 2.
Nice. Well, that is going to do 1 hit. So presumably you're aiming at the bigger one.
I imagine so.
Yeah, because he's sort of stood the way. That definitely is enough to get his attention. Sadly, the sort of explosion, it just... I don't know if it misses you. What sort of external circumstance, Darbram, means that you miss your normal dead-eye shot would miss? Why doesn't it take him out completely?
I think it's purely that they're holding up some dwarf armor, which takes a lot of the blast.
TJ just spins around and the obsidian collective armor. Yeah, just takes it.
Yeah.
And does it. But it certainly gets attention. And he spins around. And his first action is to try and get this moaning ember to like fly and deal with you, poking it with the moaning ember looks quite unhappy with this idea and sort of half-heartedly begins to skitter towards you, but it is holding back for the moment. Darban, do you want to decide who goes next?
I think Oregon, my young buck's going to be inspired by my example and try and join in.
Yes, and Orgrim's going to try and do something different this time with it, rather than shoot it with a laser. He's going to attempt to use his, I think it's the Deimos rune, which allows me to create ultra-realistic holograms. I'm going to create a hologram of a creature of ice that's bigger than this creature that starts forming from the ice in the ground, getting bigger and bigger in front of it, in an attempt to kind of demoralize it and kind of give it the advantage during the combat.
Fantastic. Roll a check. That sounds an interesting way to do it. The little demon already looks quite scared of everything, of the bigger demon and also of you lot. And so an additional monster is only going to make it more scared.
I roll a 4 though.
Ooh, so success.
I'm not sure if my confidence thing will work for this. I don't know. I think it's because it's not a personal skill. I don't know. But
does it say skill specifically? Let's have a look.
It just says when you roll and fail, you can roll again immediately before reducing the skill, and you must still take the complication. So I'm not sure whether it refers to just me, or I feel like it's me rather than the actual.
It's a skill. Yeah, it's got to be a skill. So I think, yeah. So you're going to succeed with the complication. I think how we'll do that.
So it's a 4 then.
Yeah. So as a 4, I think what happens is that this is just the excuse for the moaning emperor to skitter off, and you see him find a little access tunnel and just run through it. As he does that, though, the big demon just races towards this this illusion and straight through with his spear, and immediately realizes it's not right, and turns to you, Orgrim, actually, and swings at you now. With his flaming spear.
There's a zoom. There's a sudden zoom into Orgrim's face. He goes, "Oh!" and pushes his glasses in.
Well, you only take 1 hit off your resilience as he just grazes you. He was going to get you in the glasses if you'd not pushed them up. But there's just him acting. That's his acting. So there's just Ballard left this round. You've just got this one enraged, screeching ember. Is what this is, you believe?
So Barrett sort of steps between his young friends and this screeching ember, sort of holds out the staff towards it and sends sort of blue icy flame towards this thing to destroy it. I will roll my Firelight rune, which is on a d6. A massive 1.
Okay, there's one hit
Welcome
to
to my world.
You're sort of fighting fire with fire here, aren't you? I think you realise as you explore it is quite hot to the touch here. But yeah, the demon's still coming at you, and it seems only enraged by the loss of its servant. Back to the start of the round. Barrett, do you want to choose who goes first this round? Ian, do you want to choose who goes first?
Yes. I think Darbram's going to step up again. He was first to initiate this, so I think he gets to go again.
Yeah, he realizes that the small demon brains bullets that he's got aren't good for big demons, and the only way to do this is to go up and physically wrestle dwarf or our demon are for this long thin demon. So he's going to rush up, try to pick it up and snap it over his knee using his raw strength.
Sounds amazing.
Well, let's see if I've got the dice to back it up. 1, I roll again.
Consistent, at least.
This dice roller is broken. And I don't
It's amazing. Roll 20 has been channeled into Roll Dice with Friends just for this game to do it. Yeah, so it doesn't happen exactly as you described. I think you get like your hands on him, but he's hot to the touch. He just sort of skitters away into the ice. You're not able to do it. Darban, though, you can choose who goes next.
I'm going to let the demon go next.
Okay. The demon at this decides that if you want to grapple with it, it will grapple with you, and it tries to cut some ice around you to trigger a little landslide that will just disadvantage you. It's going to do that as a check, and it does that. In fact, so what that means is that when it next attacks, it's going to be in a good position. So it'll roll 1 higher dice. It'll be on a d8. And it's going to let Barad go next.
Okay.
It is quite beaten up. You have been wearing it down. You always do at least 1 hit to it. And most demons have like 3, 5, 8 hits. So it is being worn down.
Barad realizes it's worn down. It's in a vulnerable position. Sees a sort of piece of ice above it, like a nice sharp stalagmite, stalactite. I can never remember what the difference is. But a sharp piece of ice is above it, and sort of
I think it's icicle. Actually, I don't think it's either of those. If it's made of ice,
that's true. That's right. That's fair point.
Speaking.
That's right.
You'll find it.
It's the end of a long day.
Before our geologist fans start writing in.
Actually,
Yeah.
he sort of like smashes his braces together and brings this thing down with a singularity rune upon it.
Let's see.
That's running on it.
How that goes.
D8 at the moment. Let's see how that goes. A 7.
That is enough.
Pretty damn good.
Give a bit of flavour as how you defeat this demon.
Yeah. So there's so you hear this sort of like creaking and cracking as this thing stumbles towards Barad, and he just sort of there's a little smile and there's like a big white beard. As this thing sort of crashes down and just sort of smacks straight into it, crushes it completely.
Fantastic.
The brains are still intact though, Dabram. So I aimed it just how you'd like it. Head's still intact.
Can't believe you fell into our trap by saying encased in ice, waiting to be dug out.
Yeah. Okay, and yeah, you're able to
just got your ice cream scoop for the brains.
And actually, you see the sort of in the passageway where they were, you can see that there's actually what they near where they were. There's a sort of unit in the wall with lots of runes on, lots of controls and pipes and stuff that go along the passageway going further. As you look at it. Well, Ogrim and Barad, you both can see this. This looks like it might be a refrigeration unit.
Barad's going to study it a little bit, like read the runes properly, sort of figure out what's going on.
I mean, it's definitely not operational at the moment.
Sort of like concentrate.
It's definitely not operational at the moment, but it looks like something that could, if it could be brought back online, it might be able to stabilize the asteroid. But you'd also surmise there's maybe a network of these. So there's others sort of dotted around the mines that would maybe allow you to work from there.
Does this correspond to anything on Barad's map at all?
There's occasional runes here and there indicating some sort of network of technology. You're not exactly sure exactly what, but I'm willing to try and commune and turn this device on if you'd let me, my young friend.
Sorry, yeah. I keep going. What about that there? Try pressing that one.
Barry just sort of puts his hand on it, sort of like communes with the technology effectively. Willpower, I guess.
Yeah, willpower seems to be about what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's go
for it.
8.
Wow. Yeah. So this is going to bring it back online. What does a successful communing with this refrigeration unit look like?
So I put my hand like put my staff to it and like take a moment, stumping on my shoulders, getting very excited, sort of running around my hands up my staff, and then everything starts to sort of glow around me and become brighter, and the whole thing sort of like you sort of like comes into power, and you hear sort of clicking and clackings from somewhere down in the depths as well.
Excellent. And as Barad, we just see as Barad breathes out, we see like suddenly his breath is frost again, and there's like clouds of smoke as the whole room around this becomes a little bit cooler, as if maybe this part has been stabilized. You consult your map and find that actually, if you can make your way to the central mines, it looks as if there is a network of controls here. It does look like the central one might be. You know, the bit that we saw that was a central map, there was then a big area. They all seem to commune around there.
Yeah.
From that. But you've got to make your way there yet. So we need one more success to get deeper into the asteroid to find the central mines. Origrim, I mean, if we're taking it in turns, it'd be Darbram to roll a 1 potentially again, but doesn't have to be. You can decide yourselves.
No, I'm happy for Darbram to have a shot.
Yeah, I thought you all might be traitors. So, yeah, I'm just going to use the power of my will to get us to. So I'm going to so this is the way we have to forge it. It doesn't matter if there's things in the way or barriers or psychological problems. I'm just going to dwarvenly, pig-headedly drive our way through to the central part, no matter what.
Fantastic. Go ahead.
Well, they're all a 4. Ooh.
Is that? Oh yeah, just okay, just to appear in mine. Fine. So that is. I mean, we've celebrated a 4 because that's a good roll for this session. That's success with complications.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing. You do really well. So you charge forwards and are able to navigate towards what you saw as the central mine workings in here. You come to a sort of 2-tiered chamber, and in the center of it, you can see these pipes and things from the refrigeration units all sort of joining in the center. However, above this, in this sort of ice cavern, you can see it looks like a demon, but instead of burning like fire, it appears to be sort of made of ice. It's certainly like nothing you've read about in your books of demons before. It looks sort of a bit like a shark, but with feet. You see what I mean? It's like 6 feet on there, sort of Chinese dragon type thing, or bullet if we want to be D&D about it, but made of sort of crystalline ice from there, and it's padding its way around. Seems to be lying and like sort of sunning itself, icing itself on this central refrigeration unit that seems to hold the core of it. That's the success to find the central room. The complication now is as you make your way there, you can see on the higher tier of this chamber, there's some dwarves, and there you see them padding around here. They've got rifles, and it looks as if they're on the lookout. So you sort of stop before you enter the chamber, as if they've they've surmised that you will come here or have tracked you somehow, your movements, and so are looking to sort of spring on you as soon as you enter this chamber to do this. You've got refrigeration unit, asteroid bullet, demon, and a larger squad, like 6 of these obsidian collectives around with rifles around the top. And you note, Bard, that they have, some of them have got like runic jetpacks as well. And some of them carry big blocks of stone with runes that they've hastily carved on that should be able to weight them down if the gravity changes. So you have a moment to sort of duck behind the corner and decide what you're going to do. But it feels like this room might be the linchpin if you're exploring this asteroid.
Ogrim suggests we catch our breath before we do anything else.
Yeah. What, you want another complication? Brilliant. I can do that.
No.
I think we press on, my young friend.
Okay.
There's no time for breaks now. We must get to that central unit, stabilize the asteroid, and maybe make it our base of operations out into the wider field.
Yes. I mean, maybe. It looks like they're prepared for your gravity shenanigans. But
Agreed.
I doubt that the Dragon Bullet monster is. Maybe you could like float the monster up to where they are. That's
an interesting suggestion, Davram. An interesting suggestion. And hilarious. I can try for sure.
Okay.
That sounds like something we really should try.
float a shark monster towards the dwarves. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah.
See his little feet flapping in the air as it tries to get purchased.
Far be it from me to encourage players to plan more, but I'm going to suggest for now it might be good to have an idea of what you do after that as well. Or like a plan B.
I mean, that's the end of the plan, right? If it goes right, well, everything will be fine.
Point 2 on the map is chaos. That's what I've written in there.
I've started drawing a little shark figure and everything. It's fine.
Can I ask an awkward rules question? Is there a die type above D12?
There is not, no. But remember,
okay, right.
nobody's used.
Oh yeah,
we've
got our grit, don't we? Yeah, I could grit that roll to hopefully make it go well.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I have got a way of upping my die type as well. I was going to use grit to up my die type, but there isn't another die, so
yeah, no.
I've got to do 20s.
Well, what we could do, assuming this goes well, we could basically claim that the shark is in our power effectively, and that the creatures in this asteroid are in our power and at our behest, and that they should leave before we decide to set more horrors and monstrosities upon them.
I like it.
Yeah, go that route.
Could even use the holograms to create more of them.
Love it. Yeah. It's like we can help each other out, right?
Yeah.
So a double grit check.
I mean, yeah, you can do it. You both take the consequences, but yeah, you can both use grit. That's fine, yeah. I'm really loving.
Gives you a D12.
Yeah. I'm really loving the fact that your plan B is also contingent on plan A working as well. Like it's not.
We're going to roll 2d12.
If it works, we'll also do this. But don't think about it. It doesn't matter.
So so yeah, my normal singularity would be D8, so I'm going to roll D12 with grit.
Okay. And are you doing the illusions as well?
Yeah, I think Orgrim's going to help me make more shark monsters.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's. I don't know, where is that?
Let's make the roll, then narrate the scene, and then come back to what we need to do.
We have to call this.
I got a 9.
Critical roll. Oh yeah.
Hey.
Oh, I got a 4.
The highest one matters, though. And just a reminder in the rules, unlike D&D skill checks, a bit of bugbear in mind, it's 5+ is a success. The higher you get, the better as well. So actually, rolling the 9 is better than rolling the 5. You will do better. So you're going to be successful in your plan of levitating it with the monsters. So do you want to? I mean, it'll happen sort of as described. Do you want to just set the scene and see how this does? Because this can just deal with the Obsidian Collective sort of once and for all. Go on in. You take. So maybe John, you add a bit to it, and then I'll sort of step. Diagram, if you want to narrate what you're doing while this is going on as well, and we can see where we are.
So Barrett sort of steps out. He looks sort of old and wizened, sort of like hooked, bent over, and like you can hear like there's laughter from the Obsidian Collective sort of echoing around the chamber as this sort of old dwarf like sort of clicks his way out with his staff into the middle, and this shark sort of like this shark monster sort of barrels towards him, and he just sort of smashes his staff into the ground, puts his braces together, and this thing flies up into the air. His little legs going in the air, and then as it reaches the Obsidian Collective's level, it suddenly splits into multiple creatures, and they absolutely just reach out as these sort of shark things sort of like float towards them and run away.
Well, some of them run away. Some of them are tasty, crunchy dwarves in power armor for this thing. As you hear the sort of crunch of it being, nom nom of this demon. While this is going on, the refrigeration unit is now exposed. Darbram, what are you doing with that, or what's your next action as this floating asteroid bullet demon?
I'm going to try and get rid of some of the other storage drawers that are still here. I'm going to just be stepping out and say, shall we summon more demons from your nightmares and elicit fear from you, so you see you quake and wet your armor before your companions, or do you wish to leave now while you still have some modicum of dignity?
Make a willpower check.
D6 to see
Make a willpower check to see if you manage to finally get rid of it.
Can I help with that as we sort of set the scene for it? Can I help them out and roll my willpower as well as sort of like helping them out?
You can, but you will face the same consequences. Sure, is how it works.
Yeah, I'm on a D6, so I'll give a hand. I think seems appropriate.
6.
5.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So the response is no, please don't summon any more monsters from our nightmares. Just let us go back to it. And we see this absolute scene of chaos. There's a cut back to the outside of the asteroid where the Obsidian Collective ship. We just see the sort of pincers that are holding it steady to the asteroid begin to be released, and like the thrusters fire up, and this stream of not very many dwarves like just running out of it, trying to leave the asteroid once and for all. As they do it, as they get through to it, and you have dealt with the asteroid. How long, Barad, can you keep this monster suspended in the air? Because the dwarves have pretty much all gone or been eaten now. I think it's maybe got some purchase now on the upper ledge as it like snarls around.
I sort of like send it down the corridor. I like suspend it for a bit so I can draw a diagram and make some notes, and then sort of send it down whatever corridor from far away from us on the most upper level I can get to.
Yeah, as it does, you can see it sort of sniffing the air as if it might know these tunnels quite well and be able to find its way back. But yeah, you managed to like tap it up. You've got a moment in this room, and in fact, that's
a tomorrow Barad problem.
yeah, future Barad can deal with the asteroid demon. So you can see that actually, as well as this refrigeration unit that you have, there is beyond a sort of array of equipment, tools, discarded mining equipment, like stanchions from where it's been hollowed out. It's not quite a massive pile of treasure, but in terms of starting a base and starting up as dwarves, it's not too bad, really. You might be able to find some useful items here. Also, you can see the refrigeration unit is sort of partially on. You can see some of it's online, some of it isn't. It maybe needs a bit of repair work done to it to get it back online to stop the asteroid melting, which, as the thrusters engage from the Obsidian Collective ship and it sort of lurches off into the long belt, never to be seen again except in a future episode of Stoneburner, we do see another like sheet of ice melt off, bringing your count down to 3 out of 6. So what do you do?
We need to repair this refrigeration unit, don't we?
Yeah, I've got to jump down. I'm going to jack in my Frostbite rune armor to use my internal diagnostics to try and modulate the frequency of the refrigeration diagnostics.
Sounds legit. Go for it. Make it
a good
very Star Trek. Yeah.
I can't see that.
Can I help Dabram do that?
Yeah, go on. Describe how.
I'm going to kind of like while he's kind of attempting to do the diagnostics, I'm going to be following instructions where he's going to be saying, put that cable there, put this cable here. So I'm going to be kind of running around being his extra pair of hands kind of thing.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, you can help with probably with this dexterity, okay? If you want to roll.
Dexterity?
Yeah. I've rolled a massive one as per usual, so you're going to help me out on this.
I rolled a 2. Later, there's a refrigeration, it floats into space for no reason. Why is it in space?
With us still attached to it.
So I'm going to do this sort of narratively to give it a bit of... So you, instead of you failing, because you know what you're doing with this, you've already fixed one of them, you notice that the problem isn't with this refrigeration unit. It's actually that there are 2 more units on the asteroid that aren't online, that need to be brought online first. And when they're set up, this will kick in and actually stabilize the whole structure of it. So that's going to be the failure, if you see what I mean. You actually need to get these other 2 sorted from where they are. So you need to sort of locate where they are, get to them probably pretty quickly, because you can tell that there's a little temperature monitor and it's down at like 50% melting. Like one little level below is where it says evacuate. Critical situation. It's already in critical. The next bit is evacuate. You're already in the red. So you probably need to try and race and bring those back online. And then it might sort of kick in and do it.
Okay.
We also need to work out at what point is it too late, and do we run back to the ship, or do we just, is it all in? We're going to get this asteroid stable.
I'll grab you by the spacesuit lapels and say, it's never too late. If you're showing. And,
I believe we should split up.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
So you look at your map and like trace the lines down. You find that one of these units is in the hitherto locked door that the Obsidian Collective was based in. The other one is like freshly installed in the sort of chambers that you didn't go down first of all, the sort of partially worked out, partially collapsed section of it. And those need to be brought online like as quick as you can, maybe with someone back in the room to like trigger it completely to make it all sort of work. So what's the plan? Who's going where?
I'm going to rush for the latter ones that seem the furthest away. So I'm just going to head off pounding down the corridors.
I'm going to head for the nearer ones. They're a bit safer.
I'll head for the near one as well. Yeah.
Okay. So
Godspeed, Darbram.
Yes, I'll look behind and see there's no one with me. Not even a drone.
Okay, so you have to like sometimes crawl, sometimes climb through these corridors, looking for. Luckily, it's fairly easy to tell where this refrigeration unit is because it's where the most ice is. That does mean your journey gets a little bit harder as you're going on. How are you approaching this problem, and what are you going to use? I'm going to rule that this is actually going to be in an excellent position because you sort of know where it is. You've got the map. And you've just got to bring it back online. You've already fixed one of them. So that means you get to roll twice and take the highest result. But what are you using to do this of your step down dice?
I'm going to be using my pure grit at this point because I can't let everybody down. I've got the eyes of the old man on me and the young idealistic kid. And I've told the kid we can't leave until this is done, so it has to be done, no matter what it costs me. So I'm just going to dig deep into my dwarvishness and hit it from there. See, I just give everything. I get an 11 is my best roll.
Fantastic. So that is very successful. Do you want to describe, put a little bit of flavour on that? What do we see Diagram doing is you managed to get this refrigeration unit online and race back to everyone? Gaz, do you want to just...
Yeah, there's a montage of smashing through ice with a mattock.
Yeah.
Sorry, you keep fading in and out, guy. So there's a montage of me smashing through ice with my mattock. Occasionally, a demon jumps out and I punch it in the face and crack up on its head to grab the brain, soggy, stick it into a bag. They're swinging across chasms, There's rushing across, and then there's eventually getting a defibrillator unit out onto the fridge to get it restarted with electric shocks.
Lovely,
Nice.
lovely. Meanwhile, and with that roll, you'll get back first as well to bring the whole thing online. Meanwhile, back in the control center, there's all the signs of the Obsidian Collective having stripped this place out, taken some stuff out of it. What's your approach, Barad and Orgrim, to bring this unit back online?
Barrett's sort of going to commune with the machine and figure out what's wrong with it effectively. Sort of like digging deep into sort of the sort of runic lore and his sort of magical knowledge to figure out exactly what's happening here. So I guess that's willpower, which I'm on a D6 for.
Go for it. Again, excellent position though, so you can roll twice and take the best.
Roll twice.
And
cool.
I'm guessing Orgrim can help him while he's doing that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you don't
2d6.
get you don't get with it. Excellent. So just want you just.
I get 2 1s.
Oh.
No pressure, Orgrim.
So hang on a minute. So am I using which was it? Text
Willpower is what I said.
willpower. Willpower. Okay. I get a 2.
Oh, well, that's how that goes.
Yeah, there's just like critical parts missing from this. As you look at it, there's a whole like section of it that's not on. Darbran, as you're back at the central thing, it's just not coming on. Your bits, everything's lit up apart from this section in the control panel. You think, Orgrim, that you may have seen some of the parts that you need back in that big pile of detritus that was next to the central bit of it. So I don't know, maybe it's within your drone's range though. That
I will send my drone to try and get it then. Yeah, I will.
Yep.
Don't fail me now, drone. Don't fail me now, Ziggy. Off you go. Controlling him. I've got my kind of goggles on, but I kind of control him and heading down there.
Yeah, Darbran's already there, looking impatient. Like this drone appears.
My kind of drone come into the cabin and kind of fly around and kind of pick up a couple of bits, then drop them, then pick up some other bits, and then seem to move around a bit as me and Barrett fight over the controls a little bit when they tell them that's not the thing, that's the thing.
Yeah. Then there's a fire in the corner, so it goes off and like has to put that out, and that still flies back.
The fire suppression thing is off; it spins round.
My sausages get put out by the fire suppression.
Just a hot dog with a bunch of like foam on it now.
Yeah.
It looks like it might be all down to this drone roll to see if you can bring it back online.
Okay. Do I need to make my so regarding the drone,
it doesn't have dice.
It has root.
It's got a room, hasn't it?
So it's got 2 runes. Yeah. It's got 2 runes. It's got the hologram rune and the laser rune, but they're the 2 runes it has. So I don't know.
I just roll one of those. Excellent position again, so you can roll both to get it.
You want to roll one of those? Either just okay.
Whichever one you want.
Well, it doesn't. It's academic really because I rolled a 2.
But you're in an excellent position, so you get to roll twice from the
right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, an 8.
That's fair, isn't it? Okay. The drone manages to come back and actually fit the part and stuff, and we see it light up, and the sort of ice begins to stabilize, and it begins to be cooler again as you do it, and it looks like you have actually created, for now, a safe base on the asteroid. As you return back to this central chamber, you see that there's actually further chambers beyond this. And as you dig up the detritus, Orgrim particularly, where your drone has picked up, you can see there's actually a lot of the shiny sort of wealth has been collected by this demon as well. So there's a huge pile of treasure that you almost fall into as you find it, as you get finally your vision of glory. And that's probably, I think, where we'll leave it, as you've secured the man. We see you all around here. You found the money, you've got your items and stuff, you've managed to deal with the dwarves and the demons. And then we just pan back down the corridor and we just see this huge asteroid demon just poking its nose around and sniffing the air as it sees the 3 of you celebrating your victory. So we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for playing.
Thank you.
Stoneburner
Thank you,
is
Guy.
available. I think it's probably available on itch. It's probably what I'd say. I was a Kickstarter backer. So
I know Drive Through as well. I was checking out earlier today. It's on Drive Through RPG as well.
So check it out. It is solo friendly as well. So it has lots of oracles that we didn't use here, but I did use in some of the prep of the adventure. And remember to like and subscribe. And we'll have more exciting adventures in a couple of weeks' time. Okay. Thanks for viewing. Cheers. Bye.